Well, there you see some of the destruction done by all of our rains on the farm fields. Now we're going to find out how that's going to affect you. Don?
Hey, Linda, joining me is longtime area broadcaster, especially of Farm News, Max Molleston. Max, nice to have you with us, and I know you've studied this subject for a long time. What most people are interested in, of course, is how this is going to affect them. Is it going to increase prices?
You mean the grocery store prices and stuff like that? Generally, when you're dealing with corn and soybeans, and that's the predominant crop here, that doesn't bother us too much. Now, what we'll get is people like ADM and Staley. They're going to still get their cornstarch out of the corn, and they're going to get the oils, and they're going to get the sugars out of the corns. Soybeans, soybean oil, that's what it'll affect. And really, we haven't noticed over the years, we don't notice that much of a change, simply because America is a land of cheap food prices. The government wants it that way. Farmers may not, but the government wants it that way, and the government generally keeps it that way. As far as the livestock is concerned, which translates into beef, pork, lamb, and poultry, we may see those prices rise, but they're independent kind of floods and stuff like that. If there's fewer of them, they're going to cost more. If there's more of them, they're going to cost less. But as far as our major crops, corn and soybeans and wheat, I don't see anything that's a big-time upside explosion in prices. And the other thing is that we've got inflation is a small factor of what we'll have to face. Every day we hear the job situations, big time, taking furloughs. And so we're not going to be up there in the high interest rates and all that kind of stuff. So I would say that go to the store, look in the ads just like you do, follow those ads and find your bargain on the things you like. That's pretty much what we always do.
Tough, though. You had some figures, I know. 88 was a bad drought, just the opposite of what we've got now, and it didn't affect things too much then either, did it?
No, 88 is the flip side of what we have now. The government's acting as if it were a drought. All the emergency stuff is in. It is a terrible thing in that, to the upside, to the long side, it may take a couple years, 3 years for some of this land to recover. And actually in a drought, it takes a couple or 3 years for land to properly recover. So it's a disaster, and farmers, you know, through the 80s, you were talking about that, farmers through the 80s took a blow to the sternum, if you will. And to some degree, this is another blow to the sternum. It's going to take a lot of heart, and so far, the administration's showing that heart. I'm not sure how long the battle's going to go on in Washington, but the administration is showing that they mean it. They're working with the governors. Great stuff, you know. I mean, that's great stuff for the governors, great stuff for the president, but we've got to have follow-through. Yes, we've got to have follow-through out of that. We've got to have a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of money. Nobody knows how much.
And the river, as I have read, where in some ways the fields, you know, are richer right by the river and the floodplains too. You lose them some, but you grow a lot of good corn and soybeans.
If you can farm bottomland and you can treat it just as the way it needs to be treated, it's some of the best land in the world. Nile River, you know, Mississippi River is no different than the Nile in that sense. They lay down the soil components, and that becomes the soil near the rivers.
Max, enjoyed talking to you.
Appreciate it, Don.
Thank you, Max Molleston. When we come back on the flood of '93, fighting back, a look at the silent heroes of this tragedy. Those, of course, are the volunteers who did everything from sandbagging to feed thousands of hungry residents. So stay with us.